Vanakkam and welcome to another episode of the International Women's Day episode. Last week we had Renu Dhillon on our show, a very inspirational person, an entrepreneur, and who came across so many hurdles in her life and how she conquered that, and how eventually she became an entrepreneur and invented, I should say, the concept of public speaking for very young children. And she conceptualized the idea of a genius kids idea. And now today we have another very, very inspirational person. Her name is Poornima Shankar. Poornima Shankar, some of you will definitely know. She was on a show briefly along with her late husband. Poornima Shankar was on a show maybe about a year back, along with her late husband, Mr. Manjunath Dattatreya, who happens to be the author of two wonderful books called Surya Vamsha and Chandra Vamsha. Welcome to the show, Poornimaji. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me here, Sudha-ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I really admire the way you have picked up your life ever since Manjunath ji left. Sometimes, some people leave a legacy behind, and definitely Manjunath ji has left a huge legacy behind, not just through his works, but also as a life example that he has taught you, I would say, to his children and to the world through his books and through his words, through his life itself. Right. To tell briefly about Poornima Shankar, as she's called, is the Ardhanagini of the author Manjunath and is nutritionist by profession. You know, many of us, many women, we tend to be a shadow behind our husbands, and we kind of lose our identity. But Poornima ji has kept an identity for herself by being a nutritionist. She currently works in the field of nutraceuticals. Just like we have pharmaceuticals, there's also a parallel concept called nutraceuticals. And her alma mater is Maharaja Sayajirao Rao University. And she's also completed her master's in food science from the Rutgers University and ITEC through the College of St. Elizabeth, USA. Poornima loves to sketch. That was very evident from the two books that Manjunath ji wrote. She had some very beautiful sketches in the book and draws and inquisitive about different forms of handicrafts. That is also very evident from many of her Facebook posts. Prior to illustrating this book, she has drawn several comic book pictures. She has also written and illustrated stories for children. She is an enthusiast of the Zentangle form of art. For this book, she has challenged herself to convey the core message of each story through drawings done on a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square piece of paper. That I can't imagine doing that. I mean, leave alone cooking in a small, when they talk about small homes and tiny homes concept and all that, working within a 3.5 inch to 3.5 inch area, sketching something and conveying a message is very, very hard. I can't imagine how do you do that. Welcome again, Poornimaji. How are you doing? And tell us how you have picked up your life ever since Manjunath ji left.
Thank you so much, Sudha-ji. Yes, thank you for having me here. It has not been easy for us because we've had a very happy married life.
I can tell.
Of 25 years. Yes, 25 years. We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. In fact, was this past year on November 7th. And he just missed the 25th anniversary, but we did spend 25 beautiful years. And yes, so it is very hard. So there is different stages to grieving. And, we went, I think, through all the classic stages of grieving. And it is necessary to grieve, because you miss the person physically in the physical form, and that is very important to grieve. That's an important part of healing. But beyond that, we need to progress. I wouldn't say move away or move on. I feel it's more like progressing towards achieving something more, and achieving the purpose of why we are here and they are not, and realizing that is what needs to happen. And I think somewhere down the line, with a lot of help and divine grace, and from friends who have mentors, guides who have actually guided me and helped me in understanding, I think I have been able to move on. Rather, I should not be using the word move on. I would rather say progressed, into finding balance and into finding more equanimity in my life. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I understand that you're a working woman, and after you spend about 8 to 9 hours at work, and there you're completely focused. I can tell by the kind of focus when you draw something within the 3.5 inches to 3.5 inches areas, square inches or area. It needs utmost attention. So that automatically means that you're going to give so much attention to whatever work you're doing, which would mean your nutrition profession. So I can guess that the 8 or 9 hours that you spend at work, it's going to be ultra focused. But so you have about another 8 hours sleeping, I would say, and you have some time in between. How do you spend the time? What do you do then? Do you think how are there friends coming over? Or do you think you do some retrospective of what you can do, what you want to do? You spend some time on what Manjunath ji has taught you, how you can contribute, how you can help other women who have gone through this grief, etc. What is the kind of message you'd like to give to some women who have gone through such loss?
Definitely, there is a lot of so there's quite a few points you have made here. So ultra focus, yes. Initially, when we are grieving and when we are in the state where you're missing the physical form of the person, it's very difficult to focus. It's extremely hard. And I went through the same stage of inability to focus on my work. So I would be doing things sporadically, but the actual connections when you work were missing, and I could spend hours working but really not very productive
Not being
because
productive. Mm.
yes, so you can focus but it's not really leading much to much productive or
Results.
rather outcome that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I also learned that that is also part of grieving, because things that require emotions, is something we naturally tend to avoid because the mind doesn't want to go to a place where it is hurting.
Mm.
So doing work that does not involve emotion, like when you do workplace work, related work, or office work, it is devoid of the emotion that has caused you the grief, and
Mm.
therefore it is much easier to do that kind of work as compared to doing activities that actually where emotions it evokes emotions, like hobbies or listening to music.
Okay.
Those are tougher to do.
Okay.
So, to be very frank, I had a very tough time being able to even listen to music, especially Manjunath's
Songs that
favorite.
Manjunath ji liked, right? Something like that.
Yes, his favorite music. Even I like to draw, but I was not able to draw for months on end.
Mm.
I would say more than 8, 9 months. I was just unable to, set my heart into drawing. So the way I used to motivate myself was trying to reprint or just redraw on the drawings that I've already done, or
Mm.
trying to get it, printed on different materials.
So
Just
you get
trying
a
to
self
build.
confidence. Okay.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah, self-confidence and the ability to sort of allow myself to indulge in something that I enjoy. So
Mm.
when we're grieving, we tend to deny ourselves that, because because we're in pain, and anything that causes us joy tends to give you a feeling of guilt, that how
Mm.
can I be enjoying myself when I'm
Mm.
supposed to be grieving,
Ah, ah,
when
ah.
I've had a loss.
Mm.
So it's very difficult to move on from that feeling, and therefore it becomes more difficult to indulge in activities that give you pleasure or joy or relax, or a feeling of enjoyment, that your mind automatically tends to deny you that. So that was the phase I was in. So I was able to concentrate on work 100%, like you said, but it
Because
was
you're
very
a
different.
person who gives attention to detail, and
Yes.
that automatically came to you at workplace. But then
Yeah,
when
because yes, so the amount of detailing that goes into research work is a very different. It is devoid of the emotions.
right.
But hobbies that involve a lot of detailing, like you pointed out, which involved drawing and doing a lot of detailed work, was something that I enjoyed. It was involving emotions, and therefore I was not able to do that for a while. But I have moved on, and I have learned, with time, time is a great healer. So also with the fact that understanding and sort of saying that, look, the fact that we are here and they are not is in itself a message. If God had to take away both of us, it would have been a different route where both of us would have gone at the same time. There are many ways in which people can go together. But the fact that one has and one has not means that there is a larger purpose that is there for me to accomplish, which he had already probably finished. And
Yes.
therefore, I'm still here and he is not.
That's what
And
that's what
yes,
Hinduism also says. Even if it's a child who
absolutely.
has
This was
passed away very soon, they said the child had a purpose to who had purpose to be born for a few days or few months, maybe just for a few years. And when he has accomplished that purpose, it's time for him to leave. When I hear about some big artists passing away, like S.P. Balasubramaniam and all that, many people are shattered, but for some reason, there's something told me, he came with a purpose in life to make so many hearts, to fulfill so many hearts, so to spread the joy of music to so many hearts. And once he fulfilled the joy, he left. His duty was over, his commitment was over, and then he had to leave. I mean, that's what I felt. That is what Manjunath ji has done. His purpose in life was to make you happy, to deliver these two books, wonderful books called Surya Vamsha and Chandra Vamsha, and a lot more to give employment to so many people, wonderful people, to cherish his family, to give happiness to his family, and then move on. But then there is some other thing that says, as you said, for you, there's probably something more that you will probably discover along the way that needs to be done.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that is the only way I could find any meaning, in the situation that we are in. And the other message that I also would like to give is that, whenever something disastrous happens or a tragedy strikes in a family, we always tend to think, why me?
Mm-hmm.
And that is always there, that, why did this happen to me? Oh, look at this one, their family is intact. Look at their family. There is in they're okay, everything is fine. But when I was faced with this situation where I used to take my husband for chemotherapy and we used to be in the hospital, we used to think, why not me? We are just like everybody else. We are also humans. When we're surrounded by other people who are also going through similar situations, we used to feel very comforted that we are also like everybody else. This is a
Mm-hmm.
human body, and if
Eventually, we have
that,
to.
yes, if that family is facing this situation, then why not us? We are also made of the same soil and the same sun and the earth and the moon and the stars and divine grace. So, why not me? So that was one thing that comforted us, that we are like everybody else. The sooner we realize that, and the more mortal we feel, the
Acceptance
more
is faster.
acceptance is much better.
Mm.
And there were times in the hospital where we used to, you know when we used to have these conversations when we were still well, where we used to feel, why not me, or why me, or those kind of philosophical questions. And then we would hear a child, just screaming in the next bed, because he had to be given chemotherapy, or he would have to needle would have to be inserted. And my husband would just look at me and give this look like, really, are we complaining about ourselves? you know there are families that are going through so much more, worse, a small child having to go through this. Think of that family. And he would just give me this look, and that would say it all.
See it
So
all.
I think it's about accepting the inevitable, accepting the mortal frame, accepting the that what you call as Marjala Nyaya, Markata Nyaya. There is something which Manjunath ji has also written about, where you surrender to the
Mm.
divine and you accept that this is the way the divine, has willed for our life to be. Then the easier it is for us to go on. I think
I
it
think
is.
whether you both were a very mature couple. I mean, right? I would think you're just beyond anything. You're an indestructible pair. I mean, life would have taken a different thing, but I think physically you're separated by together by not, I'm sure you're together still by a different standard at a different level. I would say that was a beautiful way of telling. Comparing your life his life versus the little child's life who was going through a similar chemotherapy. That was wonderful. As they say, just a look could tell 1,000 words, and that look from Manjunathji's eyes told several words that if he can go through, why not us? And look at that child, etc. That is wonderful. Poornimaji, wanted to ask you a slightly different question. As we spoke, 8 hours of your life every day, even while Mr. Manjunathji was alive, and even now, has been keeping you busy with your work, with your nutrition job. There are a lot of women who are just lost, who have even here in India, who don't have a job. They may have an education qualification, but they have just decided not to work after marriage, or they just think this is enough. I'm going to be, my family is my job, and things like that. How important do you think employment is for women, even after marriage, however rich the husband is?
So work, has different meanings to different people. For example, a homemaker, is normally called a housewife, and a homemaker, they give a totally different meaning to the same word. When you're making a home, it's a homemaker, and therefore you're adding value to the person. But when you say housewife, you're first of all, there is a big difference between a house and a home, right? And wife is just, framing that woman's role into a wife of somebody, whereas that mother, when you are a homemaker, you are much more than just a wife. You
Oh,
are
yes.
you are playing so many different roles to different
You
people.
nailed it.
I think absolutely. So that coinage itself is, I think somewhere lost its value because of the way it used to be called. But I'm glad that nowadays it's being called as a homemaker.
Homemaker.
Secondly, yes. Secondly, also a couple of years, recently I was told by somebody that about 8-10 years ago, they had actually put values to the amount of money that actually goes into doing the work that a homemaker would do. If the family had to spend, and it came to around close to $100,000 per year for the services that a woman would render as by just being
Running
home
the
as a
house.
homemaker, yeah, for
Yeah.
running the house, right? So, which is often not valued or not understood by the patriarchal society that
It
we
is
live in.
overlooked. Yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
is overlooked. But you actually add up, somebody's actually done this, some
Yeah.
research has actually done this. And they've so
We women, we actually take care of the complete supply chain of the house. Groceries running out. Okay, suddenly we realize something is running out. We go and buy it, and children's homework we take care of, and everything. The front yard needs to work, and something's vacuuming, and everything needs to work. Everything when the husband arrives home, everything is done. Dinner is done, and when they leave the house, the lunch is packed, and everything is done. There is no tangible benefits that a homemaker gets out of all these things, and I'm glad somebody took the effort to monetize that effort.
the second, yes, absolutely. And the second thing that, Manjunath ji used to also tell me, I was just having this same discussion in the morning with my sister-in-law, very dear to me, his sister. And she was telling me, and we were discussing about how, how a homemaker who's not working can add self-worth. And Manjunath ji, because I've been in that situation, I was not working for 5 years when I had my twin daughters,
Yeah.
because I wanted to spend time raising them, and doing that in the United States is quite expensive if you had to start working right away with small children. So I'd made the conscious choice. We made the conscious choice of staying home. And the 5 years that I was home, often I would, get frustrated that I'm not able to go out and work, and the typical,
Yeah.
feelings that all women who are educated and
And
who
being
want to
left
step
out
out
kind of
feel.
feeling. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And he actually put this thought in my mind. He said, "Look, it's not about just earning. Earning is also when you're able to save something. So why don't you pull out something every month from the kitty, from the account, and put it into a savings?
Ah,
And that's the earning. So you show it to me at the
okay.
end of the year, and you can see how much you have saved. So earning is not just in the form of getting in
A
money, but it's
paycheck.
also,
Yeah,
yeah, it's also about saving.
yeah.
And and at the end of the year, it was a substantial amount.
Ah,
And
nice.
he would joke with me, like, see, this is what you did, you know.
A
So
penny saved is a penny made.
yeah, absolutely. A penny earned. Yeah, true, true. So that's how he gave me this thought of, like, you know, adding more worth, self-worth, you know, just to make me
Nice,
feel better
very
and
nice.
to add self-worth and to actually help me understand that, you know, it's not about not doing anything. There is so much you can do still by not stepping out of the house.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so yeah.
So, Poornima, yeah, maybe the final question. What keeps you going in life? And it's so true in your case. I see so many of your Facebook posts. I mean, every day it's a different post. Every day there's a different dish that you come up with. And now this holy time, and you show up with some designs and things like. Oh, by the way, happy Holi to you and
Happy Holi.
your
Yes.
daughters. Yeah.
Thank you.
What keeps you going? Where is that energy coming from?
I think the true self.
Ah,
You know, when you look at every soul, the every soul is meant to be just happy.
mm,
Happiness is the true nature of every soul, right?
mm, mhm.
So I think when we become honest to ourselves and allow our true souls to shine, then you will end up being happy and comfortable in who you are. And I think that that comes with time. It's, yeah, it's grieving. The grieving process has to complete, the acceptance has to come, and it takes time, and we can't rush anybody into any of those situations or those
Bring the
feelings, but
grieving to come to a logical conclusion, because I
it
think
comes to
grieving
logical conclusion.
takes a long time, but then the degree of grieving reduces over a period of time. As you said, time is a healer. And then I think there's an overlap between grieving and then coming to terms with it, and then making some progression in life, and you know, as you said, being honest to yourself and doing something else that will keep you occupied.
And you know, to be honest, even the departed soul would not want to see their dear ones crying all the time. I mean, that is not the purpose of why we are here, and they are not there. If you are still here, that doesn't mean that, you know, we spend the rest of our life just crying, because that's not what we are here for, you know. So there is a purpose to why we are here. And you know, the discovery of who we are and what our purpose is and why we are still here takes time. And you know, it doesn't have to come in a day. It could also change over a period of time. You could start thinking this is your purpose, but in a couple of years, you know, you may realize you want to do something else. That's fine also.
Yeah,
But the fact that, you know, we are here and they are not, itself speaks a lot. And we have to sit back and we have to think why that is so. And if that is so, then there is definitely a higher reason or a bigger reason for why we are here, you know. And I think we should honor that, and we should live the life to our fullest.
very
I think
nice.
that's what our near dear ones would
Mhm.
also want.
Nice, very nice. And your final message to women on the special International Women's Day?
Be true to yourself, and you know, uh, and I would say that, you know, never take the back seat wherever you are, you know. Make sure that you have the seat in the front, uh, where you're in the driving seat and where you are able to make influence decisions and make decisions. Never
Very
allow anyone else to do that for you. That's what I
nice, very
like,
nice.
more empowerment, you know, to create more feel empowered.
Beautiful, beautiful. Very well said. I can tell just talking to you for a few minutes, you're a very spiritual person, you're an intelligent person, you're an independent person, you're a very progressive person. More power to you, Purnimaji. I'm sure there is a whole lot of things waiting ahead for you in life. Wishing you all the best, wishing your daughters a very happy birthday on International Women's Day. I do remember our first interview with Manjunath ji was on the same day for 2 years back. And he was so proudly saying about his daughter's birthday happened to coincide with International Women's Day. So they're meeting again exactly 2 years.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks again, Murtimaji, and have a wonderful Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Sudaji, for having me.
Thank
Happy International Women's Day to all the women. Feel empowered, you know, more love and light to all of you.
thank you so much. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.